I would like to add one more thing to that. When you are not sending out love, you're a victim, and that's when you get hurt, because you're reacting to life. When you are vulnerable, you're responding and sending out the necessary power in your life to others. And that's the place you want to be, is when you are actually responding in love rather than reacting from fear. And so you're actually going to move into empowering yourself with this information. And you don't have to be afraid of being hurt through being vulnerable, because it's like a shield. Love is like a shield around you. If somebody sends negative or unkind comments, and you're sending, say, God bless them or God forgive them, then you're just not going to be hurt, because you aren't accepting it like the victim did. And you can see it, that it's their pain and not yours. I would like to share this afternoon the 4 stages of moving from dualism to oneness. Many people are caught up in a dualistic way of thinking, which has caused the exact kind of suffering and pain and misery you girls are talking about. And it was planned that way, that you would come in and go through these lessons, as I earlier explained. And this is a time when we're coming to the end of our lessons, and it's such a crucial time to understand your progression of moving out of any parts of everybody in here, any parts in your life that are still based in, I have all the answers, I know what's good for you, I know where you should be growing spiritually, I know what you need to do because I know best, this Father Knows Best idea from television. All those ideas that come from arrogance cause more difficulty and pain, and that's what the duality is about, is you've made yourself a God in somebody's life, trying to force solutions, trying to tell them what to do, instead of allowing them to find out from their inner being what is right for them and helping them to be true to themselves. And so in not changing others, but only changing yourself, will you find happiness. And that change is what third dimension was all about. It gave you the opportunity to see where you need to change. And you two women have identified some areas in your life where that change is necessary. And that is to be applauded. Not everybody is aware or wants to be aware of what needs changed in their life. It's nice to go around with a smile and be Miss Wonderful or Mr. Know-It-All, but underneath that we all have good and bad traits that need to be identified. Nothing wrong with good and bad, except that it is a judgment. So what we're doing is moving out of what we would call today good or bad, and judgment and criticism, and moving out of that duality of this is black and this is white. And that's what ascension is about, is to move on and heal it with love, whatever it is. You see, there is the highest vibration in the universe is love, and it heals all. But when your heart opens up, then it can happen. So it's an indication that there's still some more opening to go. In duality, you also have a concept that is also causing difficulty besides your negative thoughts, words, and actions that are going on in your life. There is also the idea that God is separate from you. And this is not your fault. This has been perpetuated through not only society, but especially certain religions. And it was purposely done because they did not want you to look inside and find the real you that is within. And that was easier if you just followed their rules and their dogma and their leadership, and you were just nice little sheep, and that's what they wanted. And in third dimension, people are waking up. That was part of what was in the words of the song. Waking up to understand that I can heal those pains and wounds with love. And I can move above it and not have pain in my life anymore. If you know about the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism, the third one is to realize that we can move out of our pain and suffering, which is what ascension is about, and which is what we're talking more about tonight. And you don't have to stay in the third dimension of duality. You are having this big open road in front of you, which you have a choice to move forward into and move out of this duality of pain. But it was necessary for you to say, I do not choose to be sick anymore. I choose health. I do not choose to be in uncomfortable situations that are not good for me. I choose to find people of like mind that are growing and spiritually moving forward and being more honest with themselves in their lifetime. So, you see, duality was all about choice. And now the people in this room have chosen. You wouldn't be here if you hadn't. Have chosen to move out of the pain and suffering of duality. And in doing that, you have found a God who is more loving than the Old Testament Bible wrathful God. So now you have moved, many of you have already done this, but moved into a place where it's not quite as bad as it was in the lower form of duality, because you are what we call semi-duality. You have a loving God, but there's still the society's rules are still running the show. So it's a little less painful because you have love in your coming from an outside source. And that, of course, is still not what's really happening, but our thinking processes have to move through these stages. As you have probably noticed, your concepts of God have changed over the years, and I'm just kind of putting them in a nutshell for you. So you move out of duality into semi-duality, where you have a loving God that's going to save you. Now, that's fine and good, except that's not what happens. And so as you grow spiritually, most of you have moved into a place where we call non-duality. You have become God conscious, knowing that the answers are within and God is within. And now you're coming from a place where you're growing leaps and bounds into awakening up to the wonderful creation that you are. Instead of seeing just the words on the paper for the Song of Amazing Grace, you can see beyond the words on the paper into the spiritual intention of the song. You can open up the Bible and you can see beyond the ink of black words on the white paper and see the spirit of what is being said. So you have come into a God consciousness of spiritual vision. Now, this is when Jesus arrived on the scene, was to tell us that this love and lack of duality was what we are really heading for, and what is really truly our lives, is that there is no duality. People have misunderstood the Bible, and mostly on purpose misinterpreted it, because if you are your own authority, if you are your own divinity, you don't need a church. They'd be out of business and they wouldn't be running the show. So you see, you're moving out of the physical manifestation, materialization of the worldliness into a spiritual awareness where you are the creator of your life. And as you heal those good and bad, rights and wrongs, criticism and judgments in your life, you are then sending true love. Not just thinking you are, but emotionally you have made a shift to allow it to happen. That the light can leave who you are to others. That the light inside can appear and actually manifest in your life. You see, one day when we were doing a chakra clearing in channeling, everybody in the room that night identified that inside a light was coming on. It was an amazing evening. The light, inner light, was totally brilliant inside of everybody that night. And that's what we are trying to accomplish, is to allow the real you to shine, and then to be there as who you are and sharing that with others. Now, non-duality is a very important place to be. And Jesus was trying to share with people a new concept that they still, most of them, did not understand. And as we move into the last stage of thought, it encompasses not thinking about love, but actually experiencing love. And that's what you ladies are talking about. How do we do this? How do we become that loving entity, that loving spiritual person who is creating love around myself? And it happens from within. And as you move into the experience of living it, your channels that have been blocked and obscuring that light will disappear. It's like walking into a dark room and turning the light on. And you become the light. You become the God in your life. And the love flows through you and out from your heart and being to those around you, and you create a loving environment around you, which is what you truly are in the first place. But your eyes were closed to that prior, and now it is time to awaken to it completely. So you see, when you come into oneness, you have moved your mindset from being and searching outside of yourself for answers to searching and knowing the answers have always been within. And those people were not necessarily bad people. There's no good and bad. There's good in all of us. There's God in everybody's heart. But sometimes the heart has been closed down through the duality of harshness, through the woundedness that happens in people's lives. And our job here is to send love to others. You see, that's what light workers are about. You are a microcosm of a macrocosm. Light workers came to Earth because Mother Earth was dying. It is a sentient being. It is your mother. And the sun is your father. And you are the created son of that union. And when you heard that Mother Earth was dying, you volunteered to come and show others by your bravery, as Mary's looking at and Nancy is looking at, of saying, I am willing to come and open up the light and show others they can do that too. And in that light, I will raise the energy, not only of my life, but it will raise the energy of the earth. You are healing Mother Earth every time you change your heart and open it up to love. Every time you understand that the pain of somebody is a call for help and a call for love. You are healing Mother Earth with your being able to say, I choose to be one with God. And that's what heaven's about. Instead of being totally farthest from God, you are then with God in your life. You are God. So we have